Мастер дела.
Watch in today's program jewelry masterpieces with hidden mechanics and thousands of precious stones. What do the sleeve buttons of the Spanish king and Donald Trump look like? Ukrainian master who offered a challenge to Tiffany and Cartier. Speaking the truth, the list of good jewelry designers is very narrow. People living in the West have already used to the permanent rivalry between the famous Tiffany and Cartier jewelry houses, but masterpieces of jewelers of the past such as Benvenuto, Cellini and Karl Faberge are already beyond the times and competition. The 21st century hasn't yet added new names to the pantheon of jewelry art, but Ukraine is almost at the threshold of such a breakthrough. One famous Kiev master has been creating jewelry masterpieces for presidents, royal families, and even for the Pope himself for 20 years. What is the difference between jewelry designed by a master and other jewelry pieces? Are they sold in the best jewelry houses of Europe and the US? How many diamonds can be incrusted in one ring to beat the record in the Guinness Book of World Records? Right now, watch a story about Ukrainian master of the most delicate profession, jewelry. It is not so easy to find this man. Few people know the address of his salon located in the capital of Ukraine. You can get there only by previous appointment. Right at the entrance you can see sculptures, the prices of which are in the several hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. In this particular case, it would be senseless to try and rob the jewelry saloon, because every sculpture has its logo, which is the best protection against theft and forgery. Any collector who might doubt the origin of the work can simply call up jewelry master Ihor Lobortas and ask him directly. We are designing items of contemporary jewelry art from all spheres in which mankind has its standards. These are weapons, ware, and jewelry sculptures. This man established a classic jewelry house already in 1990s, when hyperinflation was soaring through the roof and money depreciated very quickly. It was the time when Ihor Lobortas had set for himself an uneasy goal of creating items of extremely high value. Ihor Lobortas has had a passion for delicate work from his childhood. In his early years, he was interested in modeling, as were many other kids. But he even couldn't imagine that he would become a jeweler, because in Soviet times it was impossible to find employment without the approval of the proper authorities. Moreover, to purchase gold and silver for private use and for a hobby was almost unreal. So Ihor chose a technical profession popular at that time. Having entered the Kiev Polytechnic Institute, he joined the army. Ihor did his military service at a classified nuclear facility. He keeps the lid on information about this object to this very day. But he shares another story with us, the late 80s, glut of private entrepreneurship in the USSR. Friends of Ihor provided the necessary goods and tried to set up a jewelry business, but constantly failed. When we celebrated the new year in 1990, I cracked a joke about them and said, "If you're so clever, come to our enterprise and choose a job to your liking." We have achieved great success. In 2 years, every fourth jewelry piece on the territory of the former Soviet Union was designed by our enterprise. Lobortas says that he and his parents strived not only to earn money, but also set a complex goal of leaving a mark in the history of jewelry art. To do that, they involved in vast masters in the activity and changed the approach to creating precious adornments. First of all, they stopped using the assembly line technique. Lobortas was convinced that only in that case could they create unique jewelry items.
Вообще у шедевра есть таких 3 ключевых позиции.
If you see a jewel from a distance, it will attract you and you will want to come closer to get a good look at it. When you come near it, you want to have an even closer look at it. When you start admiring all the details, you will want to have a look at the jewel from a different angle, from the other side.
Развернуть ее и посмотреть ее с обратной стороны. Отовсюду, каким образом она сделана.
Jewelry of every epoch captures the technological flair of a certain period. In the 16th century, Benvenuto Cellini failed to carve small details in stone, so he made a statue of Perseus out of bronze, which later became the most famous in the world. In the 20th century, Karl Faberge had already possessed good technical instruments, but at that time masters could not encrust extra fine stones in jewelry. But almost 100 years later, Ihor Lobortas' jewelers learned to encrust diamonds of 1.5 mm centimeters in diameter in metal without using glue. Today, this is one of 130 techniques that have been patented by the Ukrainian jewelers. This is precisely how the unsurpassed the Swan Princess jewel appeared. We compete with other jewelers in the number of diamonds encrusted in one ring, so we designed the Swan Princess jewel encrusted with 2,525 diamonds.
Это не ошибка и не преувеличение. В одно кольцо...
This is no mistake or exaggeration. 2,525 diamonds weighing 10.5 carats were set into one ring made of 18-carat white gold. The extra fine stones are brought from India. The diamond cut was also done there. It took jewelers 530 hours to design the ring and 3,625 hours to make it. In total, the process lasted 6 months. And this is only possible if not to take a break for a single minute.
Это в том случае, если ни на минуту не делать перерывов.
The Swan Princess jewel has entered the Guinness Book of World Records as a ring with the largest number of diamonds. Today, the ring is estimated to be worth up to $2 million, but 4 years later, Indian jewelers made the peacock ring. They succeeded in mounting 3,827 diamonds into it. Despite this, Ukrainian jewelers didn't stop competing with their Indian counterparts. Exclusively for UATV, Ihor Lobortas shows a dummy model of a new jewel. It is called the Lotus of Mobius. The master plans to encrust 5,050 diamonds in the ring. It will be unique not only because of the number of precious stones. This is a flower of the lotus. All its petals are so-called superstructure above the ring. The ring itself is a continuous chain. The flower is made of Mobius ribbon. In order to make the design of the ring, the jewelers used a special computer program. This process took them 8 months. Lobortas is not afraid that someone will be more advanced than his masterpieces. Making of one such jewelry masterpieces requires many years of work of an entire jewelry crew. This is the approach that makes estimating the monetary value of such jewelry absolutely senseless. Coming up next in the program, what mechanics are hidden inside the jewelry designed by Ihor Lobortas, and who are the owners of gifts of such a great value? Ihor Lobortas's jewelers make not only simple rings, they also strive to make them unique and expand the boundaries of customary worldview. One more thing, what can be simpler than sleeve buttons? Nobody else but a Ukrainian jeweler mounted sophisticated mechanisms used in aircraft and military ships into sleeve buttons. These sleeve buttons are equipped with a gyroscope that was invented and patented this year. Today we will show you sleeve buttons that are planned to be presented to the Spanish king. As far as the adornment is planned to be presented to Philip VI of Spain, the national emblem has to remain in one position. It is visible from all angles, so a gyroscope was mounted into it. Recently, the same sleeve buttons were presented to newly selected US President Donald Trump on the occasion of his 70th birthday. In 2013, Ihor Lobortas presented sleeve buttons under the title Layers of Ace to Pope Francis. They are made of silver and encrusted with amethysts. The personal emblem of the Pope is laid out on the decoration. The sleeve buttons are also unique as masters mounted elements of a famous mosaic from the ancient church of the multiplication of the loaves and fish in Israel in other side of the sleeve buttons. This is Ihor Lobortas's idea embodied in life, though he doesn't even sketch, unlike Karl Faberge.
Он, в отличие от Карла Фаберже, даже не рисует эскизы.
Я формирую идею, в каком направлении идти, что мы должны...
I form an idea and choose a course towards which we should move to bring the idea to fruition. The truth be told, I would like this to be an independent group of jewelry designers. I have only to involve a good economist into the activity and that's all. But generating new ideas is one of the most difficult processes. Very soon, a holder for the holy books Peter and Paul will be sent to the Vatican. Such adornments have been existing for about 150 years, but the classic jewelry house of Lobortas was the first to start producing precious clamps for sacred books. Today, at a Kiev exhibition house, you can see a silver book holder made in the form of 2 apostles holding in their hands the Bible of engravings. The Bible is a work of art made in the late 19th century by Gustave Ihor. In 2008, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church received a big precious lampion for inextinguishable fire. This is a smaller copy of it from a private collection. Jewelers not only designed a beautiful thing for home or for a temple, they also installed a complex engineering structure with a container into the lampion. Thanks to the container, the Easter Holy Light from Jerusalem can be transported by plane to anywhere in the world. In Lobortas' opinion, high technologies could be and should be combined with jewelry art. Due to the innovative technologies, one or another jewelry piece could go down in history. The jewelry statue, the Sea of Galilee, is one of such works. This is a Christian apostle fishing. His net is made of the thinnest golden threads, but you can get a closer look at it in the light of day. It's not by chance that it is registered in the catalog as a widow statue. Beautiful sunbeams penetrate the thickness of the Sea of Galilee. This is the most virtuous stone-cutting work. It has no analogues in the entire world. To make a stained glass panel, we should use thin slices of material. Ihor Lobortas plans to launch a whole series of production of such stained glass panels made of precious stones with different iconographic scenes. It is possible that in several years the collection will become an analog to Faberge eggs in its value and uniqueness. Special methods used to process precious stones are one of Ihor Lobortas' know-how. For example, a chessboard called the Bosphorus campaign is made of two kinds of axe stone, light and dark. It is extremely difficult to ideally polish and fit the stones together. So the masters decided to use the technology for the polishing of telescope lenses. The technology can be applied to process an axe stone. So in essence, this is high technology of the late 20th century and beginning of the 21st century. We presented the chessboard designed by us in Baku at the Chess Olympiad, so President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, couldn't restrain himself from touching them. A special electric engine lifting and powering a chessboard is mounted in it. When playing chess, you can put opponents' figures in special meshes. In March 2016, reigning at that time chess world champion Maria Muzichuk and that time contender for the title of world champion Chinese chess player Hu Yifan played chess on the chessboard Bosphorus campaign. Besides, since 2009, the Ukrainian jewelers have produced challenge and immovable cups for the World Chess Federation. The awards are made of simple materials, but the construction itself requires erodous and delicate work. One of the favorite items of Ihor Lobortas is connected with Ukraine and takes pride of its place in a whole. This is a statue of Archangel Michael on a bell. The masters succeeded not only to create the illustration of the flight of the Archangel and patron of Kiev, but also to cut miniatures of St. Michael's Golden Domed Monastery and St. Sophia Cathedral and St. Andrew's Church with the golden domes on a unitary block of silver. The bell is encrusted with sapphires and diamonds, but it doesn't make the bell sound less clear. The technologies we use in Ukraine are easy and typical for Ukrainians, but they aren't used by jewelers from Western countries. There are not such jewelers there. A jeweler should not only make adornments, but also have different engineering skills. Jewelry production is a team effort and requires large-scale activity. So we think that nowadays Ukraine is country number one in the world in terms of use of skills. Ihor Lobortas and his masters have already contributed to the development of jewelry art. Nobody can say for sure whether the works will become a new classic. Only the strictest appraiser, time, will be the judge of that.